In the world of logistics today, if there's one thing you can count on, it's that you can't count on anything. It's just volatile. From freight volumes that go up and down like a yo-yo to constant driver shortages, just keeping your trucks moving is a daily challenge. So today, we're going to break down a really important strategy for dealing with all that chaos: truck driver staffing agencies. Let's dive in. Just think about it for a second. What actually happens when that key driver, the one you absolutely need for that critical run, just doesn't show up? It's the kind of question that keeps fleet managers staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. Because that one no-show, it can spiral into missed deliveries, unhappy customers, and of course, lost revenue. It's such a simple question, but the answers are messy and super expensive. And that really brings us right into our first big topic here, what we're calling the driver dilemma. This is all about the monumental challenge of trying to manage a workforce that is always in motion. Right now, fleets are basically dealing with a perfect storm of problems. You've got your unexpected callouts, right? Then you have freight volumes that just spike and dip without warning, and we all know about the turnover rates in this industry. They're brutal. On top of all that, you've got the pressure to scale up for the holidays, or maybe you just want a big new contract. It all adds up to this constant scramble to backfill open routes. And that kind of instability, well, it's a direct hit to your reliability. So how do you get out of that cycle? How do you actually build some real resilience into your operations? Well, that leads us to our next section, a strategic solution. We're going to talk about the role that specialized staffing agencies can play. Okay, so what is one of these agencies really? What do they actually do? Because they're not just a recruiting hotline. A real professional agency finds, they thoroughly vet, and they place qualified CDL drivers. But here's the crucial part. They also manage all the complicated stuff on the back end. We're talking compliance, payroll, and a huge chunk of the risk management. And that brings us to a really great way to think about this, the workforce buffer. Honestly, the best analogy is to think of them as a shock absorber for your entire operation. So when you hit a bump in the road, like a sudden surge in business or a driver quitting on a spot, the agency takes the hit. They absorb that shock, which lets you keep your routes covered without having to go on a frantic hiring spree. But, and this is a huge but, not all staffing agencies are the same, not even close. So in this next part, we're going to look at why having an agency that specializes in CDL drivers is so important. So on one side, you've got your general staffing agency. Pretty basic stuff. They place workers, do a standard screening, and carry general liability. But on the other side, specialized CDL staffing is a whole different ballgame. The entire focus shifts to navigating these incredibly complex federal and state DOT regulations. Screening isn't just a simple background check. It's a super rigorous safety and qualification process. And the liability? It's a shared motor carrier liability. This is huge. It means the agency is legally and financially on the hook with you, which totally changes the game for your company's safety and insurance. And this is why that specialization is so critical. A professional agency has to verify every single one of these details, and more. Is the driver's CDL the right class for your trucks? Do they have the hazmat or tanker endorsements you need? Is their medical card up to date? It's a constant, regulated process, and frankly, it's what protects your fleet from some massive, potentially business-ending compliance risks. Okay, so let's say you see the value, you get it, but how in the world do you pick the right agency to partner with? In this next section, we're going to lay out a framework to help you make a really smart choice. This quote right here really gets to the heart of the matter. Reliability in driver placement requires operational infrastructure, not just recruiting volume. What that really means is, it doesn't matter if an agency has a list of 1,000 driver names. What matters is if they have the rock-solid systems, the compliance, the screening, the backup plans, to deliver a safe, reliable driver to your door every single time. It's about quality, not just quantity. All right, so here's your checklist. When you're talking to a potential partner, you need to dig deep into their safety protocols. Ask them point blank, what happens if a driver you send me doesn't work out? What's your replacement guarantee? You also need to make sure their insurance structure is crystal clear. And hey, do they actually know your local market, your specific type of freight? And finally, the cost structure has to be completely transparent. No surprises. Because at the end of the day, this decision isn't just an HR thing. It's about performance. It's about revenue. Let's connect these choices directly to your bottom line. Let's just walk through the real-world impact here. A good partner fills your open routes way faster, right? The direct business consequence of that is fewer missed deliveries. Simple. Their intense screening process means your liability exposure goes way down.
Having access to their entire pool of backup drivers means a whole lot less service disruption for your customers. And of course, because they handle all the payroll and compliance headaches, your internal team has a much lighter administrative load. That frees them up to, run the business.
Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the cost. I know a lot of people look at the hourly bill rate for a temp driver and think, whoa, that's higher than what I pay my own guys. And yeah, it might be, but you have to remember that rate is a bundled cost. It includes all the money and time the agency spent on recruiting, the administrative cost of payroll, and maybe most importantly, the value of all the risk they're taking off your plate. You really have to look at it as a total cost of ownership. So as we wrap this up, I'm just going to leave you with one final question to think about. Look at your operation right now. Is your workforce designed for resilience, or is it designed for reaction? Are you constantly putting out staffing fires, or have you built a system that can actually absorb the shocks that are just part of this industry? A good staffing partner might just be the thing that helps you finally shift from always reacting to being truly resilient.